Hey, good evening, everybody. John Henry Soto here. Welcome to the JHS show. So tonight, as you can see there on the screen, we're gonna get funky tonight. We're gonna talk about different platforms. We're gonna talk about new platforms. We're gonna talk about security breaches happening all across. The 2019 was the worst year for breaches on the internet ever in history, and this year is actually going to be even worse than that. Why? Well, that's what we're going to talk about today, and what's our responsibility, and how can we actually prevent this from happening to us? Uh, Good evening, everyone. I'm John Henry Soto. Welcome to the show. So this has been something that has been in the news. It's been everywhere. Censorship, breaching of accounts. Just to give you a little information here, we had at least 16 billion records, including credit card numbers, home addresses, phone numbers, and highly sensitive information have been exposed through data breaches since 2019. The first quarter of 2020 has been one of the worst in data breach history, with over 8 billion records exposed. Now, so it gets pretty scary when you start thinking about what is happening with our social media platforms, right? Because a lot of the platforms that are getting breached are credit card, Amazon, and those we get it. That's what people are after. But why, Facebook and all these other platforms that are just social media? Well, what are they after? Well, they're after you. They're after your information. They want to know where you live. They want to know what you buy. They want to know when you breathe, when you wake up, when you go to sleep, the kind of toast that you like. All this stuff is extremely valuable to them, because this is how they're going to package it. And they're going to say, here is John Henry Soto's daily stuff this is how he lives. Now let's put him on this plan, and we just going to flood all these things onto him. And that's the really scary part. So I have another piece of information here that I'd like to quickly read. So, like I mentioned, 2019 was one of the worst years in history, record breaking. Actually, it actually said it was given the honor of the worst in 2019 data breach Hall of Shame, and these are them coming up right now. So let's start off with January. January of 2019, Marriott, the hotel branch, had a record breach. It was a record-setting breach. They had 383 million guests' information, passport numbers, and credit card information that was taken. That's more than double. That's more than double than what by the Equifax breach. Equifax, which they're the your credit score and all that stuff, they were breached. That's in January. In February, there was another one. I'm not going to go into all of them through the whole. February was 617 million accounts were taken from 16 different websites. Some of them called Dub Smash, which I never heard, Armor Games, White Pages, Share This. They stole, and get this, users stole the data, sold it for less than 20,000 in Bitcoin. Bitcoin again in the game. On the internet. So I mean, this is where the world is going right now. I mean, look what's happening. So now in March, our friends over at Facebook had hundreds of millions of Facebook and Instagram users saw a less than happy St. Patrick's Day when their credentials were exposed by the social media company's poor password storage management. By comparison, the exposure of 250,000 legal documents stored in an open database seems deceptively small. So here's April. Again, our friends led the way in April with 540 million records exposed after leaving usernames, IDs, and passwords out in the open on unprotected servers. The same month, Facebook admitted to storing millions of Instagram user passwords in dangerously insecure plain text format. But let's not let Facebook's utter embarrassment overshadow their incredibly important breach that happened in April. 12.5 million medical records of pregnant women were exposed thanks to a leaky server belonging to an Indian government health care agency. So that's in May. That just happened in May of 2019, and I would go every single month through the whole year. There were more and more breaches. Companies that we all know, Movie Pass, it's all on here in this article, and you can do your own research and get your own numbers as well. But that's just a little bit of a taste of what I'm actually going to be talking about here today. And one of the reasons why I started kind of diving into this world was because I started noticing posting things and having it disappear, or having it not get any engagement. I had a weird thing happen just yesterday, actually. I posted something very simple, very simple. And for some reason, this kicked up. I got 280 something likes and comments, tons and tons of comments that I still haven't been able to answer everybody. And it was really kind of weird because it was just a simple statement. Then sometimes I'll post something that may be a little controversial or something political or something on my personal page, which I try to keep it to a minimum there because I have pages for that and I have a show on Sunday nights for that. But I try to keep it minimum. But sometimes I'll post something up, even if it's entertaining or fun, or maybe just something that might get a conversation going in a little different direction. Gets nothing, zilcho. Which is kind of like, it's so obvious, you know what I mean? It's so obvious that there's I have 5,000 members, so even statistically, even if you want to, or even just if you just on a ratio look at it, if just 1% would answer, that would be a consistent whatever that would be, 50 people minimum, right? Or is that right? I don't do the math, whatever it is. But even if you look at it, just 10% of my audience, right? So I mean, there's something obviously that gets, and this has already been in the media, this has already been in the news. They've had to go to court for this. Nothing is a secret. I'm on the platform right now on Facebook, which I like Facebook because I've done a lot of work on Facebook. I've made a lot of money from Facebook because of ads and people I've met that have hired me for stuff, and other, just so much expansion that I've done on Facebook. So for what it was when it first started, was fantastic. Now, what's happened recently is that it's become what it was intended to become, which is a marketing company. It's no longer the social media company. And I think I talked a little bit about this on my last show, my last solo show, where they basically were in the business of gathering data. That's what they do. They gather your data. They gather as much information about you that they possibly can, because they want to package it and sell it to you. Same thing with Google. That Google and Twitter is also right now in the news for deleting accounts of very high profile people in government because they shared something that was in the media. So, but again, and I go back to this before, I always defend the social media platforms like Facebook and Google, and I do, even though people, I know what's going on there and stuff, and it's quite obvious at this point. I still defend them because it's their platform, right? When you signed on to these platforms, you signed on to give them data. That was it. You said, "Hey, I live here. I love to eat this. I'm tagging the place that I'm at, and this is what I had for to eat. I took a picture of it, and I tagged all my friends, so they might like it too." So the algorithms work, and the way that it just ties all in, and it's a beautiful system that they created to sell more stuff, and it's really worked because Facebook is the biggest social media platform in the history of this thing, and it's gonna be around for a while. You know what I mean? It's just gonna have different. It's gonna have competition. It's gonna have different platforms that are going to be less restrictive. That are going to be you're going to be able to communicate more with people that you're connected with. For instance, I have people that don't see some of my stuff that I know very, very well. So it makes no sense. Why wouldn't they see that? So it's not social media, right? It's their idea of who they want to socialize, right? It's the same thing. And not to get into the politics thing, but the politics thing, they segregate, you know, the left from the right, and that's how they build. Everyone is basically preaching to the choir, right? Maybe one, two people kind of like are hanging out because they want to, and I respect those people that stay on my page and follow me, and because I respect them more than anything, because that means that they disagree with me, but they're still willing to accept me for who I am, and value the work that I put into the research that I do. And whether they agree or not, it doesn't matter. I still respect them because that's the world that I want to live in, right? I don't want to live in a world of violence where somebody gets punched in the face because somebody doesn't believe in what they're saying, right? Um, so you can see that that is the business of the social networks, especially Facebook. They have basically taken their system and they've made it in a way that you can communicate with a few people, right? I have maybe, I don't know, I have a 5,000 on my personal page, and I have a couple of other pages, fan pages, and or I don't know, I'll call them fan pages, but business pages, whatever you want to call them, with a 10,000 to, some from 300, to up to almost 9,000, 10,000 people on these pages. And, I use those for marketing and but my personal page should be my personal page. I should be able to post something and have people see it that go on and interact. And that's really not asking for too much when you're asking for social media, right? So that's Facebook. The next one that I'm talking about is Google, right? Google has had um, a reputation of, email. Don't want to make any accusations here, but you know, you can go on your email, check your email, type something that you like, and it picks up. Now, what they say is it doesn't read your email, but it does pick up certain keywords of things. So let's say I'm talking to someone about floor shine shoes. And I say, yeah, my grandpa used to have a great pair of floor shine shoes. I don't even know if they're still around. I believe they still are. I'm going to see ads, I guarantee you, for floor shine shoes. If I type that in, I might see it right now because I'm saying it, which is cool because I need a pair of shoes. There is that useful? Yeah, it is useful actually. Amazon has the Alexa. It's listening all the time. People say, "Oh my God, I was talking about this thing, and suddenly I went to my phone, and there it was, what I was talking about." Or I got an email from a company giving me a 10% off that thing that I was talking about. That happens. Of course it does. Is it helpful? Is it useful? Sure it is, to a certain degree. As long as it doesn't start, really not just if it doesn't start creeping you out, and invading your life, invading your space. And if they don't start making decisions for you, if they once they start making decisions for you, um, that's where you have to draw the line, especially if they're trying to control the narrative, right? And that's what's happening with a lot of these social media platforms, is that they're controlling the narrative. They're owned by, whoever owns them. And it's a very if you can control a person's purchase history and what a person buys for the next year or for their lifetime, which is the goal, right? Then you can control the narrative on a lot of other things. Who's their favorite team? Who's their favorite politician? What's your favorite ice cream? What's your favorite, whatever it may be? And Also Rumble and Clout Hub. Thank you, Patricia. I appreciate that. So Patricia Lester, who's on my Sunday show with Frank Maglio that we do, called Can We Talk? And we talk about this all the time. And why do we talk about this all the time? Because, let's face it, right? Whether you're on the left or the right, we get suppressed tremendously. If you hear my son there screaming in the background, it's about 8 now, about time he doesn't want to go to sleep. But that's why it's live, baby. It's live. Look at my hands are huge. So, why do we talk about this? Because there has been a level of censorship on a party that's really important in the country. It's just another part, right? It's a party. It's not like where we just showed up, right? It's been the Democrats and the Republicans. And we have independents there, right? And we had the Tea Party for a little while, right? And we have there's a whole lot of different parties, right? The Socialist Party. Um, and it's just another element of America. It's not that we're not saying that we should only listen to us, but we should have a voice. We should be allowed to communicate. And if we have some information we'd like to impart onto these platforms, it should be allowed to go on there, and it should be allowed for people to look at it and say, I disagree, I agree, you're a bonehead. Whatever they want to say, they should have the right to have the information, whether they agree with it or not. I should have the right to see. I don't see a lot of things that I want to see. I don't see it. I don't Somebody was telling me that there was these huge Biden rallies. Well, I wanted to see it. I wanted to see a video. I asked for it. I couldn't see it. I couldn't find it. I'm looking, and so is it being am I being not shown that on purpose, or is it that it doesn't exist? I want to know what the facts are, and I think that we're, as Americans, we deserve that right. Now, again, I go back to these platforms here, and I totally understand that they own it. When you signed on to these platforms, you gave away those freedoms, whether you think or not. Now, there are security features on there. They do have certain things on there, but it's not really your platforms. There are no huge Biden rallies. Yeah, I don't think they are either, because I mean that was the purpose of why he went out that way. He didn't want to actually have those rallies, and I respect him for doing that, because the COVID thing, or for whatever reason he chose not to have the big rallies. That's fine. But why can't we have this conversation? So that's the main reason why we've been researching these different platforms, is for the fact that we're just not being allowed to tell our story, to just be part of the conversation. That's all we want to do, is be part of the conversation. I mean, can you imagine if a telephone company decides to drop your calls every time you're talking to your friend on the phone about something that they disagree with? Well, that's the level of censorship that's happening on these platforms, and it's quite scary. It's quite scary. So we did find some platforms. Now, people are going to say, oh, but those are conservative platforms. Well, guess what? We're the ones being suppressed, right? Conservatives are being suppressed. Independents are being suppressed. It's not just conservatives, Republicans, independents. They're being suppressed. Even people that are just on the fence on whatever, you know what I mean? They're being suppressed as well, because they're asking questions and they're posting things like saying, hey, well, I understand that, but what about this? Or, you know what I mean? They're being suppressed as well. And so when you go to these platforms and people say, oh, those are just left, right wing, whatever, well, you're going to see a lot of stuff on there, but it does not mean that you yourself can't go on there and give put what you want to put out there. Get into the conversation. Let's get into an open conversation and be able to experience each other's energy. Whether we agree or disagree, the conversation has to happen. That is what politics is, right? I mean, that is what the system is about. It's about people from different sides wanting to actually help the people, us, right? They work for us. All Remember this. All those politicians, they are our employee, right? We are the employers. We actually hire them to do a job for us, right? Now, I know some of them has gone in, they've made millions and millions of dollars on jobs where they only get paid, I think they only get paid like 100, maybe $200,000 a year at the most. And somehow you have a 20 million, 30 million, 40 million dollars. That's how you're worth. All right, good. Somehow they found a way. That's not really what I'm talking about. They work for us. They work for us. So it's part of the conversation that we should be allowed to have. And that's what these platforms give us. So anybody that's out there that, if you're listening and you think to yourself, oh, these are conservative. No, they're not. They are absolutely not. It's just that this is where we go to kind of show each other stuff, because we haven't been able to. So I'll post something. Patricia Lester posts something. I don't see it sometimes unless she sends it to me directly. And that's horrible. I know Patricia. We've been doing these shows on Sunday nights for a couple of months now. So it's just not fair. But on these platforms here, these that I'm going to go on, you can actually post something, and you can comment on something you disagree with. You can post all the Biden stuff you want to post. You can post all the Trump stuff you want to post. And again, I know I'm talking about politics, and one of the reasons is because this is what started the conversation on why I decided to do this episode, was because I thought, well, where are these platforms? I have a very good friend of mine who sent me these platforms, which I knew about these, but I wasn't really diving into them, and it gave me the idea, I should do a talk about these platforms. I didn't know. I think there's a couple of them I didn't know, but I thought it would be a good piece of information for people to have. And anyone that's out there, we're also talking about breaches as well. It's not just censorship. We're talking about security breaches, which has been, like, as I read earlier, a travesty. In 2019 was the year that would live in infamy, and 2020, it looks like it's going to actually surpass that, if you can believe it. Even with COVID. But of course, people were home, so they probably spend more time on the internet. So it kind of makes sense that the numbers would be a little higher, but still not a good thing. So let's talk about, I'm going to actually talk about these platforms, and then I'm going to give the counter to these platforms, right? Like what actually would help. And there's one missing on this side, which is YouTube, right? So let's talk a little bit about Facebook. Okay, so Facebook is a social media platform that was created by Mark Zuckerberg in 2007, I believe. I think it was 2007, maybe a little earlier. And it was mainly for college students to kind of chat, right? It grew into what it's become right now, which is an incredible achievement. And Mark Zuckerberg for him to have to still be in power of this company, pretty impressive. They went public a few years ago. Stocks were, when they came in, pretty high because the app, the the platform was already pretty popular. So here's the counter to that. It's called Gab. It's right here, JB. Now I'm gonna quickly show what it looks like, and you'll see. Let me see what mine looks like here. All right, so let me just share Gab so you can at least get an idea of what it looks like. And this is basically what it looks like, right? Kind of, Facebook created it. See, I just started on this, so I have really no followers yet. But Facebook created such an amazing platform, right? Such a comfortable platform to be in, and we've already become just so comfortable with that platform that anything that comes after it is really not going to be that much different. And when you go on to Gab, it pretty much has the same type of layout. It has it's green, you know. um, and let me just I'll scroll down a little bit so you can see. I just put there my show there. I have 8 likes, so somebody likes me. My new show or my this show, JHS, is going to be on BronxNet, and that was the only thing I posted up so far. You can go, just like anything else, you go on and you can read different things. Foreign policy, the Cold War is over. Why, so this is not somebody who's on anybody's side, just upset about something. Here's a nice picture of oh, look at that. Beautiful, beautiful colors there. The autumn leaves. Here we have, I guess this is more of a political thing, getting started on Gab, video walkthrough of the basics for folks who having, okay, this is a video showing you how to operate Gab. Gab is actually really simple. I mean, if you look at it, you're going to be like, oh, this is Facebook, but green. And no suppression. Like, you can post stuff up here and people will see it. There's no censorship. And it says here on there, it's called Gab Free Speech Social Network. Gab is a social network that champions free speech, individual liberty, and the free flow of information online. All are welcome. So that's their tagline on the platform. And you can, there's also selling stuff here as well, but they don't capture your information. This takes you, and you can go into this more if you're interested. You can read more about how this actually works. Generally, when you go to Facebook and you click on an ad like this, you go through Facebook to that company. This takes you directly to the company, which is very, very different than anything else. This way, they don't have your information where they can sell you more stuff. And here's a couple of Tucker is on this already. um, Bleak future. So this is on the other side. This is actually all different things that I don't agree with. And I like that. You know, Challenge me, give me something that I disagree with. You know what I'm saying? Here's some more stuff on the Pennsylvania mail-in deadline after Justice Roberts joins the liberals, it says here. So here's another very interesting article, and I'm going to check that out when I'm done. There's our president. So, okay, so that's Gab. That's the counter, if you will, to Facebook. Now, people say, oh, no, I'm not going to start a new platform now. Now I gotta, what am I supposed to do now? Now I lost I'm gonna lose all my friends and stuff. Well, you didn't have all these friends before Facebook, right? You didn't have all these connections. Um, Nobody says that you have to close out your Facebook page, right? I created this page. I still have Facebook. I'm on Facebook right now, right? As soon as Gab allows me to be on that page, I'll be on that page as well. You know, but the transition is it's just gonna happen. It has to happen, right? Because there's just so much that these platforms could actually sustain. They can't sustain the type of system that they're creating, the type of control that they're creating. It's at some point it's gonna give. It's something that's gonna weaken in there, and it's already weakened. If you can see what's happening already, the control that they have, it's just too much. So it's gonna weaken. So let's talk about Gmail here and Google. So Gmail has had that reputation. Now we already know how they operate with the sales and Google. And again, Google, a tremendously huge, very very large, very successful company. Their email system is very easy to hack into. As a matter of fact, there's they can get any email that they want, and if they were approached by the FBI, for instance, and they just suspected you, they would have to release all these emails, right? I mean, right now, emails are a big thing in the news, right? Some big developments happening right now with emails. Emails can be used in court because they are electronic messages that can be documented and can be traced, right? So because of that, they are allowed to be evidence in court. I can't remember the word, but um, uh, admissible, I think, right, in court. And that is part of why the security is very dangerous, because if someone is innocent but they think that they're not, well, we don't think you are. We think you're guilty. So it's this we're still in America, right? This is not guilty until proven innocent, right? This is innocent until proven guilty. So these emails are not the right of anyone. There's no they should go get the guy, or the gal that created the crime, and that guy and that girl they have to get that information from them. That's your job. You're not going to go to the servers. Why are you going to these providers and trying to hassle them to give them information? I'm sure Google and Facebook and all these people now they have a whole division where they have to now respond to police and all this stuff, because they're controlled by because they can, because they can. The fact that Google can actually go back and get all the emails they want and send them out is part of where the problem lies, because it becomes too easy for somebody just to say, well, we want those emails, instead of me going out and doing, not me because I'm not a police officer, instead of FBI or CIA or whoever is doing the investigation, instead of them going out and doing their job of getting the guy and interrogating that dude, if they think he really committed something, or getting his phone or getting his email access, that's what you're supposed to do. That's your job. You get the easy way out, get these poor people to give you their, it's just ridiculous. It's like that's so. Anyway, let's go on to the next one, and this is actually called Proton Mail. Proton Mail. Proton Mail. I created a song for all these apps in case anybody's wondering. All right, so this is what Proton Mail looks like, and it's kind of an email. This is my email here. I just opened this recently, actually, not too long ago. haven't really used it much, but this is actually going to be my email from now on. I'm actually am going to start using this permanently. Why is this good? Well, the reason why this is good is because they have a thing called it's an end-to-end encrypted email service, right? And it was founded in 2013 by a guy named Andy Yang. Well, he's part of the team, and it was by these scientists in Switzerland, right? They put this together during this big research in this big research facility. And what they did was that they encrypted it on my side and the person that I send it to, which Gmail does not have that ability. They are not encrypted in between. They're or on my side or on that side. Their only security is at their servers. So if you hack into their servers, you can hack into all the emails as well. This Proton Mail is not like that. They can only they we are encrypted in such a hard way. Can you break into anything? Yes. So there are people out there going, oh, of course you can. Anybody can break into. You can break into things, but this makes it extremely hard to break into, and it also makes it where Proton Mail cannot give a bunch of emails to anybody. So if the FBI comes and says we need the email for that guy, they can't do it. They don't have the ability. They can't encrypt our side or that side because it's way too if you know what encryption is, if you dive into what that is, you should look into it and do some research on why and how these encryption services operate and why they're so well established and why they you really can't break in there. Now people say, well, I have nothing to hide, so what do I care? Well, that's a really stupid thing to say. That's a really, really dumb thing to say because we're all allowed some level of privacy in our lives, right? And yes, you have nothing to hide, then you're fine. And if you have something to hide and you're doing illegal activities through email or through whatever that is, at some point you're gonna go down anyway, right? We all know this, whether you're I'm a spiritual person. I'm a religious person. I do believe that you are going to, you will meet your maker at some point, or you will meet the consequences, or even if you want to call it karma, whatever. At some point you will go down, and that's another conversation, right? I'm not going to talk about that, but you should have the right to have privacy in your email. And this is where this idea that we're not entitled to our freedom because if they think we did it, so it makes it just easy for them. Well, now this email makes you have to work like in the old days before we had internet, right? You thought somebody committed a crime, you had to go get fingerprints. Remember that? You had to go dust to see if there's hair, right? Do forensic, right? And go out there and figure it out. Now if it's an email thing, well, go get the guy that you think sent out the email and get the person that received that email. There is your case. Your case is not with Proton Mail, and your case should not be with Google and Gmail. I'm defending them because I really don't think that they should be involved in these kind of cases, because now it's very easy to manipulate them and to take heavy control over them. Okay, so that's that. I wonder if they censor graphic material. One of my Facebook friends has actual footage from this person's laptop and is willing to share it, but I'm not sure. Yeah, listen, this is a tricky one because I don't want to see it. I don't want to see it. I really don't want to see it. I don't think I don't want to see it because that's my personality that I don't want to see it. Should it be seen by the right people, the authorities? Absolutely. But do I want to see it? No. Everyone is still has to go to trial. They still deserve the right to go to trial. We still have to get a jury, and then they have to be go through the system. We have a system in this, and we can't just say, well, we got the laptop, so let's pull it all out. No, you get the laptop, you can release some stuff to start the conversation and to get the wheels moving and to get an indictment or to get something going. And then when that happens, then you go through the process, you go through the system. You got to keep it with the system. If you don't, the system is broken then. And it's almost, it's broken enough as it is, and it's disgusting that we have to go through what we've been going through for the last couple of years. And it's just ridiculous. So anyway, that's I want to make sure I'm on this show. Sorry, Patricia. So okay, those are Gab, Proton. Okay, let's talk about BitChute. BitChute. So BitChute is a video. It's a video platform. Now, one of the interesting things about BitChute is that they are uh, they're a peer-to-peer content sharing platform, right? And they basically have um, you can provide videos on, you can flirt, you can express ideas freely. It's YouTube has a lot of restrictions on YouTube, right? You can't post things that somebody doesn't like, right? Mainly YouTube and whoever is controlling the strings there. And that's where YouTube has really lost a lot of people. I mean, they lost Joe Rogan, which was a huge hit for them, right? He's going to take all his videos and go to Spotify. Spotify is creating a platform, a video platform for him, specifically for him. And as soon as that thing is developed, I'm jumping on that as fast as I possibly can. So look out for it, because that's really important. Because if Joe Rogan's going to be on there and he's not going to be censored the way he was censored on YouTube for so many years, he's going to get this opportunity to have this platform now made for him. So it's going to be pretty open. It's going to be allowed. You're going to be. I mean, obviously, there's certain things you should not put on these platforms, and pornography. I can't even say it. Pornography. I guess I don't say that word too often. Pornography is something that should not be on these platforms, right? That should not be on. Anything with minors should not be on the platform, because it's against the law, first of all, right? And that's blatant against the law, right? So anything that's against the law should not be put on this. Somebody beating somebody up, right? Right now, you can go on YouTube and just type in any kind of a protest, peaceful protests, and see people getting hit and breaking windows, and it's all that stuff is against the law. So if that is on there, somebody should look at it and say, okay, maybe we should catch these people and maybe put them in jail, because that what they did on camera is against the law, and here it is on YouTube. Those things like that, we have to have a sense of humanity here, and we have to make sure that we're not just losing our minds and thinking that these platforms can just put up whatever you want, no matter how horrible it is. That's not really what we're saying here. That's not really what we're saying here. So let me just show you what BitChute looks like. I don't really have that much stuff on BitChute, to be honest with you. There is a lot of stuff on there, but I'm gonna see if I can get. Let's see, is this my account? Oh, an error occurred. Oh, interesting. All right. Well, there you go. BitChute already having issues. It's another thing. A lot of these platforms, they're brand new. There's a lot of kinks in them, and you gotta deal with what you got. But you got to stick with some of these. We were with Facebook for a long time. So this is what BitChute looks like, and I believe I'm going to try to maneuver through it and see if something comes up. Let me see. I go here. So down here, you see the categories here. So business, finance, cuisine, education, entertainment. Let's go to entertainment, since I like. Well, let's go to music, since I like music. Let's see if anything comes up on music. All right, so here's some stuff coming up on music. I don't know. I'm so new to this platform. It's here's Lady Gaga's piano thing. It looks very interesting to me. I'm fascinated because there's a lot of things here that I don't even know. You go on YouTube and it seems like anybody who pays the most money is going to come up right on top. So if I type in music, who's going to come up on top? Lady Gaga, Beyonce, they're the ones that are, their companies are probably paying. I'm not saying that is going to happen, but I'm saying that I typed in music and I have a lot of interesting things here. Look at this funny, send in the clowns election. They got Biden and Trump in clown. But you see, things like that don't offend me. Like, I'm not a triggered person. I don't get triggered. I'm from the South Bronx. I've been shot at. I've seen people's lives be taken from them at gunfire in front of my face at 16 years old. You know what I mean? I'm not going to go get triggered by somebody posting a Trump in a clown face. You know what I mean? Like, give me a freaking break, and grow up. Anybody that does get triggered over silly things. We got so many problems in the world. So this platform for me, this is very, very interesting. There's a lot of things on here that I really don't even understand. I mean, look at this ridiculousness right here. Coronavirus panics, 1.7 million infected, Illuminati agenda. You know, I don't know. I'll watch that video to see what they're talking about. So here's a very open platform, and like I said, there's a lot of different things that you can get from here. People, here's news and politics. I'm afraid to hit news and politics, so I'm not going to hit that because that's not what this show is about. But here is some stuff. I'll do something like entertainment. Let's see what entertainment comes up. See if it's anything interesting. Okay, here's some interesting stuff. Opie and Andy right here. I know them, radio personalities for a very long time. Little funny thing here about our good friend Hillary. So here's some information. I mean, here's some stuff. Um, is this entertainment? Well, theoretically, all of it is entertainment. Here's Bill Hicks. He's one of the great comedians of all time. Bill Hicks, gone much too soon. All right, so yeah, so that's part of what that's BitChute. All right, so again, you have options now. Are these things? Yes, BitChute was not available today when I tried to access to view. Oh, okay, interesting. All right, thank you, Patricia. I was able to see some stuff there to give me an idea. I'm gonna start going on there a lot more, and I'm gonna. I don't. I can I post on there? I didn't even check that out. I think I can post on there, right? Switch night mode. Create a channel. Yeah, I can create a channel. Ooh. All right. Well, I'm gonna have a channel, folks, on BitChute by the end of the night, or at least by the end of the week. So that's BitChute. Let's go on to the last one here. How much time? Okay, 42 minutes I've been on. Okay, we're gonna talk about brand new tube. Now, what does that look like? Like, I wonder how they came up with that name and that logo and all that stuff. It's obvious that they're trying to put together a YouTube looking page. I suppose you can, and it is what happens. It means why malls are popular, right? A mall is popular because if you go to a mall, you're going to see Macy's, you're going to see J.C. Penney's, you're going to see Bloomingdale's, all in a huge mall, and you go to the one you want, right? You go to the one that you want to go, and they're all together, right? So wherever you see a pharmacy, and I've learned this from being in real estate and from my broker, I've learned a lot of stuff like this. But whenever you go see a pharmacy, a CVS, look around. You're gonna see a Walgreens. You're gonna see in the old days Dwayne Reed. Remember them? You're gonna see these Rite Aid. I don't even know if they're around anyway, but you're gonna see all these because they're all the whole point. Where you see a McDonald's, you'll see a Burger King nearby or another fast food joint right near because that's what attracts people to it. So brand new tube is kind of taking that same idea in the social media space. So let's take a look at what brand new tube looks like here. Oops, I keep almost hitting leave studio like I'm just gonna log out. Why do I do that? Scary. All right, brand new tube, here it is. All right, so as you can see, some similarities. I think the blocks are a lot bigger up here. Of course, I haven't created an account here. I mean, this is my account, but I haven't created like a channel or anything. I don't know if you can create a channel. Oh, I'm not logged in. Let's see if do I have a login? Yeah, I do have a login. Okay, good. All right, so I can create channels here. As you can see here, you can subscriptions, playlists, history, almost identical to a the YouTube platform. You go on this side, you got live streaming, so you can live stream on here as well. You got explosive topics, latest videos, trending, what's trending. Oh, that's kind of cool. What's trending? And then here you have all the categories, which are similar to BitChute. Travel, gaming, people in blogs, news and politics. And here are some of the articles: the effects vaccines have on children and adults. Actually, I have a show coming up on Thursday on vaccines. If anybody's interested, Thursday night, 9:30. Here is some more stuff on the vaccine. I guess there's a lot of talk about vaccines in general these days. So here's some of these are channels. Again, very similar to YouTube, but looks very much different. It looks opened. It looks like nothing here is suppressed. I mean, here's some stuff that's pretty controversial. I mean, Obama is a I mean, I can't even read that out loud because it's so ridiculous. But there's some crazy stuff going on here. Dave Chappelle's on here. Oh, cool. So Dave Chappelle's got a channel on here. It says, I don't know if it's a Dave Chappelle channel, but I'm going to look at it right now. Yeah, it is. It's a Dave Chappelle channel. Here's all Dave Chappelle videos. Awesome. I like that. And here's up here some, I guess, some contributors to the channel. Built it and they will come, live streaming, real freedom. So here's another opportunity, folks. Okay, we don't have to be enslaved to these platforms. Not to say that we have to knock them, but they've created what they are for, right? They've gone into the direction of what they intended to do. And what they intended to do was to gather data to make money to sell stuff. That is what they did. Now, are these platforms going to survive because the income is not going to be as high as these? I don't know. I don't know. It takes a lot more. I mean, you look at things like Craigslist, right? Craigslist still looks exactly the same as it ever was, right? It's the same thing. It has not evolved at all, and it's still kind of popular. People still put stuff on there. So does it make a lot of money? No, it doesn't. I mean, does it make money? Yeah, sure. People put ads on it. They pay money. But how much is an ad? $25? You know what I mean? To put an ad for a week or so, it's not a lot of money. So are they making billions? No, that's why you don't hear that much about them, but they still exist. So these platforms can exist, without having a tremendous amount of revenue, but they will eventually build revenue because the people that are on it are open, they're free, you can also put ads on this stuff. So the fact that there are people on here that you're going to say, okay, I'm going to sell like I'm going to sell a Biden hat or a MAGA hat, right? Well, if you're selling them on some of these platforms, there are certain hats, the red ones, are not going to sell that popular. Those ads are not going to be put up if that's what you're selling. Or masks. I saw somebody making a masks that had Biden on it and Trump on them and stuff like that. So over here, you're going to have some trouble selling depending on the day of the week and how much money you put on an ad, you're probably not going to get as much engagement. That's been already verified. There's a lot of stuff is going to come out in the next couple of years on this, and it's just pretty it's out there now. But the thing is, people have to go out and research, right? A lot of people don't. They're busy, and I get it. I mean, Patricia was telling me about having somebody in her life that's just busy, so they don't have time to go research all these things. So they're not really knowledgeable. And if they are looking at it, they're looking at whatever is available to them, which is usually stuff that's just in their face and whatever. They have nothing to compare it to. They have it's just very biased stuff. So that's what's happening. That's what's happening with a lot of these platforms. So these platforms here are relevant in the fact that, or in the sense that they are trillions and trillions of dollars, and billions of people, have posted and have sent messages on these platforms. I'm not going to talk about Twitter because Twitter is Twitter is good to find out what's trending. But Twitter recently has shut down trending. If they don't like what's trending, they're not going to post it, because if they actually opened up Twitter to see what was trending, people will be shocked to see what was really trending. You know what I mean? But they're not. They're closed off. They post only trending things like I think today's trending thing was like something simple like, "Hey, 50 Cent endorsed Trump." Okay, that might be trending. It might not. It might not. Big news. Ice Cube and all these celebrities, which I'm not into celebrities supporting politicians. I don't really care about a celebrity supporting anybody. But that's not. It might not be on there. You check for yourself. Actually, you know what? This is my show. I can check myself right now. Let's check. Check. I'm curious. What is trending right now on the on what we like to call the Twitter? Okay, so trending. What's happening? So, Alienware, where human meets machine. Okay. Okay, so trending. Tobin. New Yorker has suspended reporter Jeffrey Tobin for exposing himself during a Zoom call. Oh, and here's my own show is right there. Actually, that's kind of funny. I think I'm gonna share that just because it's kind of hilarious. Um, Yeah, so he's on Twitter. I mean, he's on Zoom, and he decides to expose himself. So look, my show is there while I'm because I stream also on Twitter as well. Okay, that's actually kind of funny, but anyway, so here we have what's trending, right? A doctor from India is winning hearts with this dance video. Oh, that's what's trending. Okay, nylon special report. Nylon special report. I don't know what that means. Bloomberg, French billionaires just had a very lucrative decade. So I don't have to tell you that if I go to trending right here, there's the Cowboys are winning. The Cowboys. Here's a wrestling, or not? Yeah, wrestling. Here's more sports. Did I hit sports or something? Yeah, a lot of sports. Here's Exxon. Exxon responds to Trump's hypothetical fundraising call. It never happened. Call. It never happened. So here's some stuff anti-Trump. Here's some more stuff. Conservative. Rush Limbaugh told listeners Monday he can no longer deny he's under a death sentence due to progressive. So there's another thing here. So there isn't really, if this was opened for real trending news, what's on people's minds, really, this would not be the issue. You would not see any of this stuff. You know, here's news. So here's news. So as local news dies, a pay for play network rises in its place. Great, the New York Times. Election news. French billionaires again. Happy with the billionaire. A doctor from India has a great dance. I'm glad that Twitter is covering these things. Really amazing. Look, an archaeologist found a 2,000-year-old cat etching in Peru. Wow. Here's how Fox News plans on handling Election Day. Uh-oh, that doesn't sound good for Fox the way they announced it. President Donald Trump reportedly calls Dr. Anthony Fauci a disaster on call with campaign staff. Oh no, oh my gosh, did he actually say that? You mean Fauci is not a disaster? So here we are, trending news, and as you can see, it's not really trending. It's not really what people are thinking. It's a controlled thing. Entertainment. Let's see who's on the entertainment side, and this will be the end of it because I know I'm going on a tangent here. But Dancing with the Stars, celebrate. Oh, so none of this really is interesting. Trending. This is not interesting to me. There's nothing on here that's interesting at all, other than like Dexter is returning for a limited series. I kind of like that because he's fantastic. I met him actually. He's a really really nice guy. I'm not name dropping. It was not like I knew him. I just met him. Tobey Maguire joins Tom Holland and Spider-Man. Okay, so Spider-Man. I am a Marvel fanatic, so I like those movies. So I'm kind of happy about that. So two things out of I don't know, whatever they're 20, 25 posts. So there you have um, the uh, the news. You know, there you have what's trending. Is it trending? No, absolutely not. None of these things. You think the Cowboys are trending? The Cardinals at the Cowboys? That's number one trending? Really? The Cowboys and Cardinals. Nobody's even watching football. Nobody's watching football. I mean, wrestling. I'm not gonna say anything about wrestling because I have friends that love wrestling, and I respect wrestling. It's great entertainment. But that's trending number three. Really? Come on, Twitter. Seriously? Seriously? Come on, guys. I mean, come on. I'm just like, come on. If anything, it would what would be trending would be political stuff, right? Because that's where the world is right now. Everybody's going crazy with that, right? That's what would be trending right now, not the Cowboys versus the Cardinals. You know what I mean? And by the way, I'm a Giant fan, so the Cowboys, man, just just can never like them. I'm sorry if you live in Dallas. I like Dallas because that's where Stevie Ray Vaughan is from, and he played in Austin a lot. So I like Texas, but the Cowboys, man, please. All right, well, I think I've covered the four platforms on here. I want to thank you all for watching. I appreciate it. And my final thoughts on all this is really make the effort to really find out what's happening and not don't get put into the machine. you know there's a machine out there. We've been put into the machine. I'm in the machine, right? I'm not saying I'm not in the machine. I'm in the machine, but I'm able to go back and look at the machine, and I can actually look at the machine like this, and I look, and I know it's a machine. I'm not asleep at the wheel. I'm not being a sheep by being part of the machine. I'm not saying believe what I believe. I'm saying go in, dive in, and get the information that you deserve. These platforms are currently just not giving them to you. It's not me saying it. It is happening. Go in and research on your own. Research on your own, and you'll see that it is happening. It's unfortunate that it's happening. I wish it wasn't happening, and I hope that things will loosen up at some point. But these platforms are nothing right now. I mean, they're just they exist, but they really have nothing on it. I think one person on Gab. I think I have nothing here. I haven't opened up my email, and BitChute, I have nothing. I mean, this is so brand new. But you know what? These were brand new when they first came out too. I had 0 people on these when I first started, and I think the way these systems were set up now, where they're encrypted in a way that uh, you can't really suppress information on them. And that's now. That's now. If these guys see that these guys are doing well and they buy these guys, well, then these guys will control these guys. And guess what? We have to find those guys that haven't been developed yet, right? That is the reality of life, folks. That's what happens. So there it is. That's my social media revolution has arrived. It is here. You do have options. I am taking full advantage of these options, and I will be on these platforms. And I guarantee you, within the next couple of years, I will no longer be on these platforms. I guarantee that. I will be on them as far as an entity because I created these things, but I will not be consistently on these platforms. I will be on these or whatever else comes that's on the side of freedom and the American dream to be able to communicate and to be able to have free speech and to be able to express myself. That is what I am the most proud of in my life, is that I grew up in the South Bronx where I was really suppressed for many, many, many years, being told I lived in the worst community, and that here's some cheese, go stand online. And that's how I grew up. And my mother, God rest her soul, she was a wonderful, wonderful woman. She believed that there was more that I could do, and she always said it. And I always thought to myself, yeah, all right, mom, all right, mom. When I was younger, as I got older, I realized that she was really felt that there was something else that I can do, some other form of creativity that I had to offer to the world. And I'm extremely grateful that I was born in, born into that family. My grandparents gave me a tremendous amount of love. The encouragement was different. My grandfather loved to support my music and everything I did in music. My grandmother just wanted me to be an accountant. She said, be un contable. ¿Ok? Un contable, con ese trabajo, uno puede buscar trabajo donde quiera. With that kind of job, you can find a job anywhere. Being an accountant, that was all she ever wanted me to be. But when she saw that I was starting playing music and I was doing well, and I was still working, I also had jobs. I was managing health clubs, and I was sort of doing accounting in some places. So she was very happy with me as well. But my mom was the one that always said, you can do whatever you want if you put your mind to it, and she gave me that ability to do that. So I didn't fall into the trap of the South Bronx. I didn't fall into the idea that this is what I am, this is where I am, and the man is bringing me down, or blame anybody for my current condition. And I've made a tremendous amount of mistakes in my life, but they were my mistakes. I made them. I don't blame anybody for the mistakes that I've made. And this is one of the reasons why I'm so passionate about the things that I communicate, and about what I spoke about this evening. And I hope it's of value to you. And if you have any questions, or if you want to reach out to me, you can always email me at johnhenrysoto@gmail.com, because that's the easiest place to reach me. And eventually, it won't be on this email. It will be on Proton Mail. I will be on Proton. So, but anyway, all right, folks. Thank you very much. God bless you all. Take care of yourselves. I mean, seriously, we're living in such an incredible time, and I know things that look crazy out there, but the world is actually has a lot of a tremendous amount of love in it. We do live still in the greatest country in the world. We want to keep it great. We want to continue to be able to have the opportunities to expand and just have all the things that we deserve. So please take care of yourselves. God bless you all. See you on Thursday night, and as always, peace.